Okay, well, this is Linda Harris, and I'm with Maria, and we're going to do a hoof evaluation and see if we can see what's going on and help her. Hey, uh, Maria, how many horses do you have?
I have two, but I am helping out with um, seven other horses.
Okay,
And I don't nitpick over them like I do mine. And I
yeah,
just, yeah, and I just try to keep them, you know, in the boundaries. I don't do a whole lot, but it's better than having them lame after being trimmed. So I'm feeling confident about doing them. I'm just not feeling confident about mine.
okay. Let's see.
And so I started trimming. This is Bud. I started trimming him when I started learning about barefoot trimming. I had several barefoot trimmers as well as coaching by oh, that's Candy. Um, as well as coaching by some well-known barefoot trimmers. So
Okay,
I really dove into it and I tried my best. I would go back and forth from trimming to farriers, and I just never really had the results that I was looking for.
yeah, like me. The only difference was I never had any well, I did on the internet. I'm good at following directions and reading stuff. I could never, where I live and everything, I could never afford either to go to a clinic or, get anything. It was all by necessity. And so I learned, self-taught, so to speak. But my husband also shod horses. So he taught me the basics of trimming from when I would listen. Yeah. So, but we already had the tools and stuff. So, but my story's the same. I just never got the results that you're kind of promised you're going to get. I mean, did you feel that way? Like there was kind of this unspoken promise, you
Yes,
know?
yes, and that I would have the rock hard, rock grinding hooves if I can just get that lateral cartilage to harden and have that, contact the heels on that 30-degree hairline, the heels on the ground,
Hmm.
or the back of the foot, being that shock absorber.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's interesting. See that some of that stuff kind of escaped me. But um because that one image, that one dead wild horse with the 30-degree hairline, and I heard the 30-degree hairline thing too. In fact, I made up a plexiglass thing to try and get it. Did you ever hear her doing that?
No.
Oh yeah, they take a piece of plexiglass and you put a 30-degree mark on it so you could put it up next to your hairline to see if you were getting there.
No. I was lucky. I escaped that one. Linda, I'm sorry I'm having some
Okay,
delays in getting these sent.
that's okay. We'll just go ahead and look at what you got here. Okay?
Okay. I'm trying
Okay.
a different pathway, so maybe this one will work better.
Okay. So if one of these horse, let's do this horse. Let's see.
Oh,
Okay,
that was Candy. She had an abscess
okay.
and and I didn't know what to do. You said leave it be, so I
Mm-hmm.
did. You can see how it was um like the back of the foot was going to peel off there. And
Yeah,
once it did start to separate a little bit, then I just
took it
skimmed
off.
the top of it off with the nippers, and it has grown back. I think sent you a photo of her since.
Okay. Oh, look here. So so we need to talk about why this happens. Okay, why this happens is because when we were barefoot trimming, you're constantly pulling the back of the foot down, the capsule's constantly getting smaller and cramming the foot in there. And finally the foot just you know, it's like if you were wearing shoes 2 sizes too small and your foot is crammed in there. Well, there's going to be stuff rubbing on places it shouldn't be rubbing. It's going to wind up with a blister, which is like an abscess. And then and then uh the
Thank you.
foot just wants to come out of the capsule. Like I'll give an example here. Just a minute. Yeah, this happens. Have you noticed too how on you get on these barefoot pages and stuff like this, people have constant abscesses, always talking about abscesses.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because the got
And
hoof capsules are too small,
so
cramming it.
interestingly, I haven't had an abscess in the last couple of years.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
that was surprising to me when she had that abscess.
And really, that was more the heel breaking out
Yeah,
or the
sad.
physical bulb and heel breaking out of the distorted heel than it was an actual abscess. The heel just broke off because there was no real connection there anyway. And plus it'll do that also uh when you're growing the heels, the back of the foot starts to expand. And then if you get moisture, it looked like you were getting some moisture about that time, were you?
Probably. Yes, I keep the her water trough, I keep it really wet. I let the water constantly run. We're on a farm well, so I just let it trickle over.
Oh, hey, that's great.
So yeah, we have a pretty good aquifer underneath us.
Yeah, so you're allowing the heels to grow. And the only thing that holds these feet together is dry periopal in a dry dead frog. That's why they say that. See, you say that again, how you were describing that, what you were told about frog pressure and the frog and all that. What
Oh,
was it again you were told exactly?
I was told that I would get rock crushing hooves once I developed the cartilages in the back, that um they would get harder when when my frog had more contact, and those bulbs would just get bigger. So, and that meant, going for that 30-degree hairline. Yeah, it didn't
Yeah,
work. It didn't
yeah,
work.
it doesn't. Um, hmm. Just our just the interpretations of what's going on in these feet is so off. Okay, just a second here because I was wanting to show that. Okay, so look at this foot here. Here's an example of a foot coming out of a capsule that's had the heels totally trimmed down.
Was that Dodo?
No, this is a guy that's over in Israel. He sent me this picture, asking me if I could help him, you know. And so this is just all this is, and you can tell it's I don't know if that's blood down there or what went on there. Exactly. But the foot is just wanting to come out of the capsule. So this is the same as the 30-degree model capsule that I got the infringement on. And their feet aren't supposed to be like that, you know, with the bulbs. This is what they're trying to do here. See, get all this hardened up and get all this pulled down, and really what they're doing is what we're led to do is pretty much torture the horse. So yeah, his foot's just wanting to come out. And I remember and I wish I could find those pictures. I gotta find them when I thought it was just about growing heels, and then I come out one morning and it didn't do this because I had a lot of heel, but the bulbs and the periopal had definitely parted a lot and spread out. And I thought it was thrush, but it wasn't thrush. It was just that uh my bulbs had really expanded in the back of the foot. Because at the time I didn't know the whole foot was bound up like that. Who would think? And what's interesting is, okay, so I got all Mr. Jackson's books, and so he uses that one uh dead wild horse rear foot for all of his anatomy. And I was just looking at it again today. And so he places the very end of the coffin bone in the very end of the heel right here in the book in the anatomy drawings, because see they can't use like a real foot, and they do the same thing in farriery. It's all drawings, because if they use a real foot won't agree with the doctrine.
Well, and if you have reduced your capsule so
Hmm.
much, it might be there. I feel like
Ex
with all of my um, trimming to rocker the back of the foot, I think I went down to 1/3 of the size of my horse's foot at one
exactly.
point.
Exactly. That is, I'm glad you said that before I said it. Okay? Because I was looking at that today, because see, this was a real question I had. Where does the coffin bone end? Because I remember this gal, this farrier gal, because the farriers and the barefooters hated each other. And I didn't know that. I thought we were all on the same team, but I wound up on this forum and there was this gal, and she was like criticizing me, going, "You don't even know where the end of the Palmer process is." you know, I'm like, "Yeah, I probably don't." So when I did that, I could never figure out what that even meant. And so she had shown this picture where she cut into this foot, and it was a foot with the capsule removed. And I was not understanding what the heck she was talking about. And so then when I got this one foot and did a dissection where I could remove the capsule, I was searching, where does the coffin bone end? Because I'm pretty sure that's what she meant, end of the Palmer process. And so it took me some time to learn that the heels are cartilage. Here, I'll show you a picture. See, like this foot, you can bet the coffin bone's right here. This foot has been reduced so much. Uh, let's see here. That's interesting. Now, do you have pictures from way back? Are you still there?
Yes, I
Uh-oh.
do, sadly so.
Oh, sadly so. Well, see, that'd be great to do a comparison, you know, as the feet are growing. Because see, this happened to me. I bought some soaking boots, easy boot soaking boots,
Hmm.
and I hadn't used them for quite a while. And then I went to put them on my horse and they would not fit at all. They're too small. See?
And mine
So,
too. My old soaking boots do not fit his foot at all. I might as well just my medicine boots.
yeah.
Yeah, I might as well just throw them away.
Wow.
Give them to a pony.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about the same here. I think I bought a size medium or small, and now he takes a large. Okay, so what am I looking for? I was going somewhere.
I
I
sent
was
some
go
pictures.
Yeah, I was going to get some picture of something. just a second and I'll
Okay.
try and remember it. Oh, okay, cartilage. Okay, just a second here. Cartilage to show and prove that the heels are cartilage. Um, let's see. Cartilage. Okay. Okay, well, okay, so this was the first foot I was able to remove a hoof capsule off of. And so I used a knife going back to try and figure out where the coffin bone ends, and it ended right in here. Um, but I still didn't. And the thing about it is, when you look at these feet, and you have this, you take a capsule off of a foot that has been barefoot trimmed. The back of the coronary band will be pulled down, which in a normal foot that hasn't been done to, the coronary band is straight out this way. So so this is a different foot, and this is where the coffin bone ends right here, and this right here is where your heel is. And then your coronary band is up here. Oh well, right up here. So this is shows you how that how much that cartilage can be extended and how big the heel area really is, the internal heel of the foot. So the coffin bone ends right here. So if he's showing anatomy with the coffin bone ending right there, then we know that that's a total, well, we know just from looking that that's a bound hoof on a very old horse. So here's that foot again. This is the other foot. Um, and this horse had a perfect foot. I didn't know that till years later, till I understood more about what a good foot really was. And so when I first took the capsule off, this is what the foot looked like right here. And I took the capsule off in pieces. And so the frog was in one piece. And then I had the foot setting in borax and salt in a towel for a day. And then I took it and I decided to take more pictures of it. And you can see it dried up some, but it also, you see, as I was trimming the heels out, it was pulling the coronary band down behind the back of the foot, and it was pulling the frog down behind of the foot, and it was shoving everything forward under the foot. So what they have you doing is pulling your horse's bulbs down to the ground and forcing him to walk on these tender bulbs here. And so then I took that frog that was on this foot, because it would be shaped like this distorted frog corium here. And then I set the foot on it. And I remember thinking, why doesn't the frog fit the foot anymore? Because it took me a couple years of looking at these photos one day when I saw how this had all changed, how the coronary band had moved up back where it's supposed to be from where it was over here. And so the frog was pulled down and shoved under, and look what it did. See, this horse had a super good frog. And what it did was it bent his bars and his frog up into the bottom of the foot. See how that frog is bent? And so if you look at a lot of these photos people are taking, how they think they're really developing a good foot according to the same thing you were told. and you start looking at these frogs right here, you'll start seeing an indentation because this is exactly what is going on in those feet. See how the cartilage was pulled around?
Hmm.
See that?
Yep.
Okay. But then because this is all memory material, right? After a couple days, it just kind of moved back up and shrunk back up to where it's supposed to be. And look how now you have definition in the heel. I mean, it's still a little pulled down, but now the heel buttress could grow straight at a nice angle, perfect angle there to the dorsal wall. Whereas here, look at here's where the heel is going forward. That's why you get run forward heels. And that's why they got to keep trimming the heel down, trimming the heel down so that it doesn't grow and show that this is what you really got going here. This forward. Say you
So,
bend the coronary band, everything's pushing forward like that. And uh, so then I took this same picture, but I cut this frog out, and then I set the this foot on that frog, and I went, aha, that foot fits that frog, but this foot don't fit that frog because this foot's gone back to the same to closer to the shape it is supposed to be. If it was truly correct, okay, this coronary band would be just straight like that. Wouldn't have any curve in it at all. But it really shows you also why you need to trim the frog when you're correcting these feet because the frog has grown, the frog corium has been pushed into a distorted position and it grows the frog stay like this frog stay should be up here. And what happens is it gets pulled down and now it's growing here. So the frog is going to stay right there. And so this foot, each heel cartilage here is moves independently, and then the center between the heels where the digital cushion and the frog stay and all that is, that's also independent. So you could be correcting your heels here and your cartilages could actually start releasing, but they're not going to release fully unless you start correcting this frog so that the frog corium that got pulled clear under here can now pull back up to where it's supposed to be and then grow the frog from that position. And then when you get all that anatomy in the right spot, then you allow it to really uh, grow and stabilize the foot right there.
okay, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
You mentioned that the bars are bent.
Yeah.
So I've I've been hitting a bump like halfway up the frog that's been a constant bump, and I'm just imagining that's my bent bars that have been internally bent somewhere, and they're just kind of in that stay put because the frog hasn't moved enough. And I'm thinking that I finally was able to trim out the last of that lump. Am I connecting the right pieces of anatomy when I'm talking about that lump right
Well,
next halfway up the frog where the bars would terminate? Are
okay.
you
Well,
familiar with that?
yeah, there actually is a lump there, like just in the anatomy in the coffin bone, but then you can also get a buildup of sole and lamina and stuff like that right there too. So it really depends on what it looked like. Do we have a picture
Oh,
of that foot?
yeah, you now of a current one.
Okay. Um, I'll look and then I'll move the cursor and you can tell me if it's let's see here. Okay, which horse? The one in the video or the one in the pictures? Let me stop share. Share. Okay, so which horse?
Um, I sent like 20 pictures.
Ah, okay. Is this Bud?
Yes,
Okay. Okay, are you seeing it there?
not yet. That's the medial view. It would
Okay.
be a sole view of the,
Okay. Yeah, I was just looking at that crack.
see, I'm
That's just,
consistent. I have cracks in the same spot.
yeah, see, my crack wound up being clear up at the toe quarter up here.
That's candy.
Okay, where am I at
Can you
here?
scroll down a little? Yes. No,
Okay.
I sent more photos.
Okay. Let me refresh my page.
No, that's it.
That's it for
Oh,
now.
no, that says 19 photos,
Oh,
right?
okay. So that ought to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. You're getting some elevation there. That's good. Bulbs, bulbs have liftoff.
1 out of 4.
1 out of 4.
Okay.
Say, say, say to me, this is starting to look good just because of where you're seeing your periopal, how it's more narrow here and straight hairline. See, because when we did that trimming, it pulls our bulbs right under. It pulls all this under, shoves the frog clear forward under the foot. Is
Hopefully
this the
this is,
one?
okay. So that's the same foot.
Okay.
Is it? Good grief. I had pictures marked. I was just
This
sending
would be
pictures.
the left front.
Okay.
That's okay. We'll
That,
figure it
so that
out.
is the one I was referring to. So you can see how I was able to actually trim the bar a little straighter. I have my bar was clear over the side. And it was just layered over the sole. So, and it was a lump. So this is
Okay.
finally cleaning out on this
Okay.
right side of the
Yeah.
straight. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a big lump.
Okay. So that would, this would not be bar. Your bars actually end right here. You see that crack?
Yes. Okay.
That's that's where that bar is actually ending right here. But another thing is because the heels are curled in and the bar was pushed forward, it could be bar anyway, that just kind of pushed forward. But also, you do need to clean this, the sides of this out next to the frog
Okay.
here and define that in there. So I would clean all of this out, clear up to this crack right here.
Oh
And
yeah.
I would start taking this and thinning it out because it is actually laying over some sole right here. Because what happens is, you know, well, I don't know if your particular bars are, if the heels curl around and shoved forward, it's different than on that foot I was showing you where everything had really curled down because what it did, because I only trimmed that horse for 8 months and then he colicked and they had him put down. It was so severe. And what happens is these bars here are literally, they do this number on him, on this, that horse I was showing you, that dissection. They literally did this number. Just a second here, let me find it. Okay, like you see the bars are like this. Okay, these bars came loose from right here where they connect into the back of the coffin bone, and they aimed straight up into the foot like that. Let's
That
see,
would be
don't know.
painful, wouldn't it?
It had to have been. Yeah, I've got a hoof capsule here, and you can see it was, yeah, it was aiming right up into the bottom of his foot, right in there, like a sharp wedge, And they were telling me he was getting sore, you know, but what are we told? You know, uh,
They
I
might be sore, but you just have to work through it.
yeah, yep, yeah, I can definitely see. Yeah, just like as if you bent. Yeah, because you're bending this down. When that got bent down, this got bent straight up into the foot and the frog right there too. I showed you where that frog had that bend in it. The bars bent up into the very tender area of the foot right there. Yeah, it's sad. Sad state of affairs.
Mhm.
So I'm going to show you a picture of my horse's foot, how I clean that out. Now, have you got a prox on yet or thought
No,
about doing that?
I've thought about it. I'm getting closer.
Okay, because it is so handy to be able to just even burnish up your sole, and especially to clean along the sides here, and uh also in making and forming and cleaning out this frog cleft area here. It's just super handy. And those long neck Proxon variable speed with the flap disc is just super handy. I used to have a pair of boots just like that. Those are Ariats, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Same exact boot. They have sold that boot for a long time.
Yeah, but they're made in China now.
Oh, yeah, that figures. As is everything. Let's see here.
So on this left side
Mm-hmm. Over
of
here.
the picture, yes, should that bar be trimmed where
Yeah.
it intersects with the heel? Should it go down? See how the on the other side how I dropped it down some?
Yeah.
Should I do the same? I
Yes.
think
Yes,
I
you
did
can do.
that
You can come
by
right through here and,
chance.
go. Let me do this here. So, okay. So let me come up here. See if I come right up to that heel there.
Hmm.
So you can take all this down right to here. See, and then you got to take this out too,
Yeah.
because the foot is smooth. The internal foot is smooth. So right about there. And get this, so eventually it because your bars are going to hold you. See how your heels are curled in?
Yeah. Hmm.
So your bars will hold those curls right there. Unless you really take them down here so that the heels can move more as your foot expands. A lot of times your heels will start to really curl in. And the reason for that is because, well, the foot is expanding and lifting up. And so, in order, like what I've done sometimes is, let me get a drawing here. I have come and taken off part of the curl, just like that, rasped it over. because
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times what you'll find is your heel will be here, but your bar is clear over here, you know. Because it's all a form of distortion, and so you want this heel to uncurl, to come out this way,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak. And that's going to make your foot look longer too. When that uncurls and you start to see, you got a side view, you'll start to see part of this here that you can't see in a usual side view. You'll start seeing it in your like your lateral views and stuff because the foot's literally coming uncurled. Okay. And yeah, you're gonna need to clean all this up as much as possible because your frog stay will also hold your frog right there. But it's nice because uh, you are seeing that the foot is getting moisture. I mean, I see just in looking at this periopal here, that looks really healthy and very anatomically good, you know. Um, and so you've got good separation between your periopal, and it looks like you got some real frog growing here, but you're still gonna have to. I'm gonna look at a view looking down at the heels and see. Okay,
They're low.
I'm just looking. Okay, let's go back to Facebook.
This was his worst foot.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Because it looks like it's coming along pretty good. Is that the same foot?
No, that's back foot, I think.
This is this is your right
Is this?
front. No,
Is this?
left front we're looking at. Okay. Left front, and this is left rear,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So his cartilage will extend more. Let's look at a sole shot on that. Yeah, oh yeah, I can see his bulb still pulled down, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I would imagine you're going to need to be working on his frogs here so that they will want to release his bulbs. My back feet, I always say this, my back feet are rear feet are behind my fronts. That's not the way I mean it. I mean, for some reason, I didn't focus as much on them as far as correction. And so uh, their stage in restoration is behind. But I should show you some pictures of those. See? Okay, now on your notches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me annotate here. Just a minute here.
So I took two photos. If you go to the next one, this one
Okay.
looks bad, but the next one of the same view looks worse. Photography can be deceiving.
I know it.
Look at that. You can see how the two wheels are just crashing forward.
Yeah. And so you can change your notch, which will help.
Okay.
Um, let's see here. Just a second. Annotate.
Do I go in front of the crack more
You
or?
you come clear back here and
Oh,
you follow. Yeah, you got to come further back. Right
okay.
back. Right back here. Like so. Really, I need to show it from the side. And then I'll show you. I just did some notches. And man, they're really making his feet stand up. Um, oh, do. Go back. Okay. Yeah. So let me see, annotate. Okay. So yeah, it would be back here and you follow the growth ring up like so. It just that little bit'll make a difference because it'll take off the snub and because he's walking on the back of the snub and see. And so if you even measured 2 inches right to the back here and then went up like that,
Okay, thank you.
I'll show you here. Because see, I was lucky to get these feet that were all self-trimming and showing me how to really do those notches. Okay, just
This
a second.
capsule had really reduced. It wanted to stay upright, but it got really bound.
Yeah.
Where the other one splayed out, went pancake.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
this is a front foot,
uh-huh.
and there's the left front foot. That
Okay.
one went flat and wide, and this one stayed small and upright.
Oh, so you had your high-low thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two mismatched tires, as I like to put it. Okay, so I'm going to show you the notches on my horse's feet that I did. Oh, this thing's going to be a burger. A second. Turned off. My pictures are not wanting to come up. Maybe that did it. Oh, you stupid thing. Just a minute. Got this thing, this card reader. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it just decides to be. What is that? Oh, well, that's weird. Stupid thing. Come here. Come here, I don't want to work. Aha, there we go. Okay. Okay, can you see that? This is a capsule off a self-trimming horse. and it shows how he made his notch. And it follows, see, it's right here at the back of the heel, right here. And then it follows the growth ring up and then out that way. And so that's what I was gonna do to this foot. And it shows how he made. That's the capsule. So I marked it, but see how I came further back on the heel, and um this is like his foot that he cut really bad here, and not too well, a year or so ago. I was surprised because he cut the whole cartilage off. I was surprised at how well it healed up. So, but it still got this bend, and it kind of did this weird deal. So anyway, this I just took this out with kind of the nippers.
Mhm.
That's what it looks like from the bottom. See? And what this does, okay, so in the wild horse research that Gene Ovanik did, he shows three different types of heel formation on three different types of substrates, like soft desert sand, soil, and sod or whatever. And the ones on the sod pasture, what happens is their feet grow too long, heels and toes, and so then their heels start to get pulled under. And when that happens, it bends this part of the capsule, and then this part of the capsule breaks out, and it forms a hook in the back, and then the leverages from the long toe and the foot pulling in the back actually straighten the heel up. And so they'll go through this process of correction. And the horses in the winter in Wyoming, um, they'll do something too where their feet get exceptionally small from getting worn out from traveling so much. They also, though, will start to break out in the quarter so that their foot can expand. Once the green grass comes on and there's a little more moisture and they don't have so much movement, then their feet will start to correct. So, so I just did this on both sides. Did that to the back foot too. Now you see how my horn, see how the horn tubules are in this foot. Okay, so this is my horse's worst foot. But also notice the coronary band, how it's the same width all the way back. Ultimately, in the end, that's what you're looking for once heels grow in and stuff like that, that this coronary band that you see it's periopal band, but the coronary band is right behind there. And so it is not any wider than that. Did it on that foot. There's another notch. Look, now on this one, he hasn't broke out as much, but if you look at the bottom, uh, what he'll do next is he'll break out this little piece here. And what it is it's proportional. Like these feet have certain anatomical proportions. And so, uh, just the way they are, um, when they self-trim, they have a certain way they break out. Like they won't just back up the toe, you know. They'll start like here and then they'll break off like a section of a toe quarter. They won't break off the whole thing all at once. And what I'm seeing it doing is it allows other parts of the foot to retain the stabilization of the whole thing. While they're kind of correcting their feet in sections, you might say, uh, which is just due to uh, structural structural laws, physical
Mhm.
laws of the way you got a foot and then you got this thing growing from it like a shoe. And so when pieces get long or underrun or this or that, just all the structural mechanics go to work to start breaking certain pieces off, and it winds up holding the foot together while at the same time allowing it to correct itself. Like if you look at this notch I made here. So so you're going to have a push right here that's pushing up this heel. It's going to push this heel up. It's also going to push it back to where it will stand up more. Now, I did this. When was this? Let me look at properties. On the 17th. And so I'll go out and take some pictures here. Oh, maybe in a couple days. And what you'll see is that this heel will have stood up more. Okay. Because I kind of hadn't trimmed for a while too. So they were standing up better, but then when I didn't trim for a little while because they got long and then that pulled it under. So you can get it pulled down and under from trimming the heels out, but you can always also it also happens if your heels get a little long and there's a little leverage, you know.
Yeah, I think I was letting them grow too long forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a notch, see? So that this will start coming back. That looks pretty ugly, but I want to show you the principle behind the matter here. Just a minute here. The proportional anatomy. Okay, proportional anatomy of these feet, the proportions of these feet go like this, pretty much. There is a rectangular area. Now, of course, this heel's run forward, but it would be if that heel came back, it would be like this. Okay, that would be correct proportional anatomy. And then you have this piece here. All their feet have this triangular section. Now, when his foot is completely right, his hairline will be up here, like so. Just be like this. It'll be more like that, something like that. But this is the proportion of their foot. Like you look for proportions, like proportions in the bulbs, in the frog, in different things like that, which are just general proportions just patterns that I've been noticing on them. Let's see here. Let's see where else we're going here. So took that out. And what I noticed too is sometimes I'll do some of this stuff and trim something, and the foot changes faster than you can shake a stick at because there's so much pressure of the foot wanting to go that way. So, like if you take leverage off the toe, you'll see the dorsal wall move back. At the same time, you'll see the hairline raise up here. Okay. And you'll see the whole kind of foot kind of stand up, and then later you'll see the back of the foot expand because all this is a shell on a 1,200-pound horse, so there's a lot of things pulling on this, and it's a lot more flexible than what we think. Not really solid like we think, because after all, it's just a shell. So, let's see what this looks like. Okay, so his heels had curled in again because his whole foot expanded. And so I took off part of those hooks so that now this part here can widen out because here's the deal. Your heel buttresses, just a minute here. Okay, so your heel buttresses are not supposed to be aimed in like this. See, like that? They're not supposed to be aimed in like that. They're supposed to come around here and be aimed like that at the most, back towards this way. And so what happens when you trim the heels out and the foot tries to stand back up, it takes the wall that you have diminished, like you've trimmed this clear out down to the nubbin down here. It takes this, and as the foot tries to stand up, it literally pulls this wall here around behind it and curls it in that way. And then it grows sole and bar and because it's happening gradually that you don't even know your real heel buttress has just curled in and is pushing in on a frog there because you have a false heel that's clear up here and you're seeing this area of the sole and you don't realize that you've got this what's actually a contracted heel. Even though you may have a wide frog, you could still have a contracted curled in heel and not even know it because all the sole and the bar and everything, it happens so gradually and you just keep trimming it to look like a normal foot. And so what you're doing is you're covering up all that distortion by your trim. And your trim is also leading you to have all that distortion and you don't even know it's happening because the frog and the periopal and everything goes to work to try and hold that hoof capsule onto the foot. And you wind up with a false version of the real foot. And you don't even know it happened because it's been happening in increments over time. Capsule getting smaller and smaller, just a false version of itself. So in this trim, I had not done this for quite a while. Okay. I took off some of this hook here that was coming around so that this again will come out, widen up, and come uncurled so that my heel buttresses will be pointing back this way and not this way.
I have a question.
Yeah,
So when you do that, are you reweighting the distribution of weight so it's not pushing inwards so it can kind of like a notch in the back? You're taking some of that pressure off? Am I on the right track here?
you mean when I do this part here?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, what I'm doing there is because if you notice too, I don't have hardly any bar. So I dress down the bar because the bar will hold the foot right there. And so you have this hoof capsule and buttress that has literally curled in like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in my thinking, how's that ever going to come undone when it's got this curl? So I just go ahead and take part of that off to weaken it so that when the horse steps down, this is going to be more apt to push out
Mm-hmm.
like that and straighten it up. Take the curl out because it's going to, uh, uh, well, just that. It's just going to make it so there's not as much like I didn't take off a lot. it come over to about there. See, but that's still a pretty good chunk. And it doesn't change the weight bearing per se at all. Because when you look at the side of the foot, you don't even see this. You're looking at the side of the foot and you're only seeing about to here. So the weight is still right in here, but you have taken off part of this so it will come uncurled more. And I've seen it work. Like I've done it multiple times. It's never affected him at all in any way, shape, or form. It never made him tender-footed. That's not to say it wouldn't. Okay, I'm not saying, every situation's the same, but also uh I have a lot of heel to work with. He's
Mhm.
gone through a lot of uh undistortion, you might say, because these bulbs here used to be clear up here. See there? So all this had to come out, the whole foot had to widen up, the whole frog has been pulled back. The frog used to be, uh, let's see, let me show you. See, what happens is when all this curls in, then, oh, come here. Then the frog corium, or yeah, the frog corium, which is like this, instead of being straight, it gets pushed forward and it goes like this, like this. Oh, wait a minute. Like that. You can see it uh, when you take a frog down to the innermost layers, not to blood, of course. But I'll show you. I'll show you. My frog used to be like this. See, because the whole foot internally, we're trying to get the internal foot back into position. And so when all this is pushed forward, then a lot of times what it does is it pushes the frog lips out like that. And so what's happened with me is that as this whole foot has uncurled and the bulbs have pulled out, and then these frog lips are now straight. Like what you see here, you can see that they're straight. I'll show you a picture of them where they weren't straight.
Now, my
And
frog looked like a spade.
like a what?
A spade.
A spade.
Like a card, like a playing card spade.
Oh, okay. I was thinking a shovel. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, let me
Not
show you
any,
here.
not so much now, but it was up a lot more forward
Yeah,
and very bulbous.
yeah, yeah, and it can make your frog look real thick when actually it isn't. It's just that it's pushed it into a position, you know. Uh, it can either bend it up into the foot or it can kind of pooch it out. It just depends on what happens when it all gets shoved up this way, whichever direction, it's easier. What do they call that? Least path of resistance, you know. Uh some of them get real if you don't have any frog stay in here, then it can just contract really bad. Uh but if you have a frog stay, then a lot of times as it gets pushed forward, it's gonna round out like that. Just a minute here. Try to figure out how to show this one deal here. Too many windows open. Holy Hannah. I'm trying to find my screen record, my main screen, because I got a picture on there. Let's see. I guess it doesn't want to show the main screen. I'll have to take a picture of it. Let's see. Hmm.
Linda, I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. Uh, anyway, okay, so I don't know if you can see this or not, but you see this curl here, this circle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's because the the frog corium that should be like this instead is going like this, like that. Because these bulbs here have curled around and pushed it up that way. And so now when you look at my frog, if you look at the sides here, you'll see that it's straight, that the curl is out of it. Because, and this part here, see that? Okay, this part here is no longer like that. It's more like this. The bulbs are much wider and the heels are wider. But I've still got some hook. See, I did this. You can see where I did that to this, where I took off some of that hook, and the heels were much more curled in then. So the foot is literally unrolling and straightening all that anatomy out. Man. Okay, I'll go back to this other picture. Let's see. Okay. So I want you to look at the back of the bulbs there, have that indentation right in the center. And then look at this and you'll see that isn't there like that anymore. See there? And when all is said and done, you won't have hardly any of this indentation like this because this frog here that's right in here, let me do a this frog right here. Okay, it's going to come way back further behind the foot and be the um and really come up behind the foot and uh up between the heels way more than what it is now. But the frog corium lips are now like this. And look at, see, you don't see that rounded center here because they're not bent anymore like they were. They straightened out as the whole foot uncurled. Okay, so we're gonna go uh look at your horse's feet some more. Let's see. Okay, so you I can look at this other foot and this foot. You're growing in some foot and some heel. Let's keep looking at these though. You do have some lift back here. Looks like this heel's your in your case, your medial heel looks like it's more run forward on the medial side, would you say?
Mm-hmm.
So that means it's more trimmed out on that side than it
It
was on
looks
this side.
deformed.
What'd you say?
It looks deformed.
Yeah, but it'll straighten up. It'll take some time, but it'll straighten up. Um, let's see if you have, okay, the medial, I'm looking.
It's candy.
That's the other horse, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like this horse's feet went more flat? Did he conform more to that trim, like that 30-degree hairline thing? Like sometimes you have a horse
Oh,
just won't conform to it, and so their
yeah.
feet keep raising up.
Yeah. She is so resilient. She she amazes me that she moves so beautifully with such deformed feet, but they were worse. Um, yeah, but they definitely have ways to go. Yeah.
Well,
That
look,
was her first abscess, too.
okay.
It's amazing to me. I
Yeah,
didn't
it is
expect it.
amazing. See, I never got abscesses either, but I see them happening all over to other people, you know.
I I was wanting to believe that your foot's moving, that's why it happened.
Yeah, well, in this case, all it was her heel just broke off because she didn't have no connection and her foot was expanded. See, the bulb just expanded out the back there.
Yeah.
You having that moisture.
Mhm.
Her foot, like here, look at her cartilage. She's got nice cartilages. Her cartilages just about refuse to be, well, like over there, you can see it's more bent down, but her cartilages look like they just want to be really strong and stand up here where they're supposed to. So she just pulled up and that pulled forward, just broke a heel off because of leverages. So I wouldn't even call that literally an abscess. I'd just call that, a structural separation finally. Was she lame on it?
Yes,
Was she?
for about 10 days.
Okay. I had this horse I was trimming for a while, and this guy had tied him up in a certain way. I don't know what he thought he was doing, but it totally ripped a heel off. Okay. That heel grew back better than all the rest of them. And that happened on Valor too when he cut his cartilage. I didn't realize it at the time, but he had cracked his whole heel. Oh, that whole heel and bulb moved back like perfect, almost. And it was the worst heel on that foot, and it wound up being the best heel. Someday we're going to know how to do things like that almost on purpose. And in fact, I also started uh, making a cut in the heel buttress without actually taking it off so that it would work as a prosthetic while at the same time allowing the foot more flexibility to move. And that worked for good for me too. I did a lot of scary things, but nothing that affected him to where it made him lame or sore. But it was all based on stuff I saw him do to himself, or what I saw, how I saw horses self trim, like these notches.
So where I'm getting those cracks is where the foot wants to notch out, I guess,
Yeah,
but I'm not letting it because I keep it trimmed and I'm trying to mend it instead
yeah,
of letting it do its thing.
yeah, yeah. They're trying to show us something. Okay, where am I at? Well, let's go back up here. Okay, so in this case, from what I see when I look at this picture, like are you mapping?
Yes.
Okay. And so if you were to measure from the hairline here to the end of the heel, how much heel do you think you got?
I probably have just either at 2 inches or shy of 2 inches.
Okay. Now, here's something that's going on. Okay, and why I think definitely notching this foot is going to benefit you because your bulbs are still low back here. So, okay, so it gets confusing because you can have not quite enough back here. You're probably still having to add capsule wall into this area of the foot here, which you can't see from the side. Look, okay. So I would let me take a save image, and then I'm going to notch that foot. We're going to make it big and annotate. Let's see here.
That used to be a notch. You can see the very last of it.
Yeah, it's growing out, isn't it? Okay, let's see here. Uh, share. Okay. I would notch this foot. I would go back here. You can see where this little stripe is here.
Yep.
Okay. And I would draw in my notch like what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can't hardly see the growth rings here, but they're there. I would come clear back here and I would come up here following the angle of the hairline here. See? So you're going to follow the angle of the hairline about to there and then do that. Follow a horn tubule actually. About like so. So. Like so. That is what I would do
Okay.
on that foot to see if you can start get this heel to stand up. Okay, so here's your proportions. See it
Oh,
there?
you have a good eye.
There's your proportions, and then there's your toe. And so what you're really wanting is you're wanting the back of the foot to stand up, which it can't with this little piece here. You see that?
Uh-huh.
And stuff, but once you make a notch here, I guarantee it will. Um, it'll help this part stand up, and then also after a week or two you can work on maybe beveling some of this here, beveling that so that these horn tubules here will want to move back a little bit too. But I know that if you do a notch here, it'll probably stand your heel up after a week or two.
That
It
would be
has
awesome.
Valor's out here. I've been looking at his feet going, gee, especially the hind ones. Because see, I put notches all the way around on all 4 feet, you know. Well, if one is good, 8 or better. So, and it seems to be it didn't detrimentally affect him at all. But I didn't do full blown trim on any of the foot. I also left him some toe because I want him to have a little bit of leverage on the toe to pull on the back of the foot. And because you see how those leverages would work if you got just a little bit more, like not totally just, backing a toe up and stuff like that. Anymore, I don't back a toe up. I just take toes down,
Mm-hmm.
because if you took all this down, it would naturally take it back anyway. And then if you bevel the outer horn tubules, that gives all those horn tubules room to move back, you know, like this one here. Okay, eventually you're going to want it to come back about to there, just like you're going to want this come back here. You see how if this moved back, it would actually push the back of the foot up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's this long right here, but if all this was to move back, it would not just stand up, it will literally push the foot up like that. See there? And so that's what you're ultimately wanting, is to get the back of that foot up, because the more you can raise the back of that foot, the more the keels will want to uncurl, because they naturally want to curl in because of the way the cartilage is made, the way it curves in. So when we lower the heel, that cartilage wants to curl in and the whole hoof capsule wants to get shorter and lift the back of the foot back up where it's supposed to be.
He's a 22-year-old horse.
Mine is like at least that old. He's a 2000 model. So yeah, so mine is about 25. And I barefoot trimmed him for 8 years. And then, here's the thing. Me, myself, and I would be further along if I would have known all these things to begin with, if I would have known what the true foot was to begin with. I mean, for years, I went through this process where in the wet season, the foot would expand. First of all, I didn't even know what the cartilages were really supposed to look like. Okay. I just thought it was a matter of growing heel buttress. I didn't know that the whole inner foot had been displaced and was growing a hoof capsule from positions it wasn't even supposed to be in. And so this was always, all of this was one gradual, slow, learned thing, and plus unlearning stuff. Like, we're so used to seeing a central sulcus. Well, come to find out, that's a deformed frog. That's a frog that's been pulled clear under the foot. And that little sulcus we're seeing is supposed to be clear up here between the heel buttresses and behind the foot up vertically, not horizontally, and between the bulbs. Um, so uh, just not knowing the foot was bound. And so I would see my foot expand. Finally, I glommed on to the fact that these cartilages were supposed to be uh, further out behind the foot, you know, not like this, like what they told you, right? They thought that when those cartilages went like that, they were building the foot up. Okay. But they're supposed to be up like this and more back like that. See, of course, I just messed that up. There we go. Uh, so not even knowing that. So I noticed that in when it was wet, my cartilages would expand, and when it was dry, they would do this number again. And then through a series of uh, odd circumstances, I come to find out that the periopal would grow over the whole frog to hold and bind the
Mhm.
capsule onto the foot that you were trimming out of it for the survival of the horse. So I really started cleaning out between the bulbs and the what they call the central sulcus, and really started working on the frog. And all of a sudden, then I got real frog and my whole frog aquarium moved, and then the back of the foot expanded and it didn't contract back up to this again. See, because the whole frog moved. And now, uh, and of course, when it's wet, your feet will expand. When it's dry, they will contract. Um, but then it got so that my cartilages stayed out behind the foot. And, I had to found out I wasn't even growing real heel buttress sometimes. It was just sidewall. I mean, there's so many things that I had to unlearn to try and figure out what was going on. So, so I'm still in a process because this is research. It's not already know and already got all the answers. We have a lot of answers, but we're still ongoing to fully restore these feet to what they're supposed to be. And so if you don't even know what they're really supposed to be, how could you do that, right?
Yeah, true.
Um, let's see. What am I doing here? Oops. And also, people learning how to take the front of the foot down correctly. And once you do start getting sole, that sole ridge in the toe, learning how to, for me, has also been a struggle to learn how to manage it. Um, uh, I'll let the toe kind of retain some length, but then there'll be a time when I'll come in and I'll take the toe down, meaning from here to here, I'll do a slight wedge shape, to where that's going to stand the back of the foot up, um, and make all the horn tubules in a straighter angle, because that also helps these horn tubules move back. It also helps uncurl the back of the foot to stand them up. Did you ever remember hearing farriers say that?
Mm-hmm.
So learning how to do that, learning how to rasp a foot flat, take the toe down, shape your toe quarters. I don't call them pillars anymore because they're not major weight bearing structures. uh, your heel buttresses are major support structures. But I'm convinced now, due to the way this foot works, internally, the suspension system that's built into it via the frog stay, and the digital cushion and the DDFT, that the weight, I just don't even think the weight is ever fully on anything for more than a second, unless the horse is standing. But just the flexibility in these feet, the way they flex, 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 you know, uh, nothing's bearing total weight all the time. It's like this amazing containment of suspension internal. And it doesn't come from the ground up, it comes from the inside out. And that's another thing too, see? So the frog has to have room so that when the pastern descends and pushes down on the digital cushion presses down onto the frog, and the frog presses down, but it at the same time it's pushing back up, but at the same time it's pushing down, it's pushing those heels out. And so if you have the frog so that there's no no space at all, it just you bottoming out like a shock absorber that is shot and stuff. So I've noticed when the horse has room for the frog to descend, it pushes the heels out, and gradually with each little, I mean, we did a thing. How many steps does a horse take a day? How many times does that foot move? And it was like some unreal amount of times. And so with every little step, every little push, it's pushing down on that frog, which is pushing those heels out just a tad. See? And so me, it's growing those heels in, getting everything to straighten up, getting all that anatomy back right, and getting that foot so it functions correctly from the inside out, not from pounding it from the ground up.
Can I give you a little background on this foot? Um, I got my horse when he was, um, I don't know, a late 2-year-old.
Uh-huh.
And he was in shoes, and this lateral side of this foot was smashed. It was flattened out, smashed, like
You
he
mean,
had been stepped on or something.
oh wow.
And he always had a dish, a flat dish there.
Uh-huh.
And this is the best his foot has ever looked. Even when he was in shoes by other farriers, there was always that flat spot.
Uh-huh. Wow,
So,
well that's awesome.
and I was very prayerful that his foot still had healing properties in it because in one of your hoof chats, you mentioned that there are only so many cells in a foot and they regenerate. There's only so much regeneration, and we'll do what we can.
Hmm.
But I am very pleased to see the progress he's made. I feel disappointed in myself that I haven't done a better job.
No, you're doing fine. Don't be feeling that way.
Uh, I mean, it would be easy to tear his feet apart. I mean, there's,
No, see, I was looking at it thinking that you're coming along good.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
But I mean, from an outsider, not knowing the journey and not knowing
Yeah.
how things take time and how it's a Rubik's cube and how you have to reverse engineer things, it'd
Yeah.
be real easy to say, "Oh, your feet are crap."
Yeah, I think most outsiders are so used to looking at such super crappy feet, they probably think this feet look pretty good, except they'd be saying, "Oh, your heels are too high," you know, and stuff. And here's the thing I've been learning with my own horse that those regenerative, these feet are amazing, how they can regenerate, you know, and come back into place. Like, listen, like the the sole the sole on the actual internal heel gets covered over. And then you got like a false seat of the corn going. You got a false bar, false heel, false seat of the corn. All the real stuff has been covered over with a smaller capsule. And so when all that starts opening up, what happened to me was I had very hollow, very concave heel platforms. But eventually, all that soul came back in that had not grown there for 6, 7 years, and maybe was never there. But the foot itself was there. But as soon as it was uncovered, it grew.
There's a blueprint.
Yeah. And so it's amazing how their feet can recover if we know what they're supposed to be to begin with. And then, our brains, we got a brain that likes to figure out puzzles, right? And so then just figuring out, well, what can I do to get this to open up and come in the way it's supposed to now that I know what it's supposed to be? See? So I think you're doing real good.
Thank you.
Um,
With your help, thank you. And
well,
so many others that have, you know, contributed with their stories. I appreciate everybody's vulnerability and, just sharing.
yeah, yeah, me too. See, because I couldn't learn what I do without everybody else too. Um, I want to look at this. Is this the same foot? That's this foot, right?
Well, you're on the lateral side.
Okay, just a minute here. What about this foot?
That is the right front foot. And
Okay.
yeah, see, that is, I believe that is an older picture
Mm-hmm.
where it shows how contracted it was.
Okay.
I'm thinking, but that, yeah, yeah, I'm pretty, well, it's still contracted. It's the high one.
Is that this foot?
Oh, no, that's the left.
This is the one that had the flat side.
Yes.
Okay. So so asymmetrical is what that's called. And so I created very asymmetrical flat-sided feet in almost every foot. From when I was first doing barefoot trimming, and then I got introduced to this trimming from the top thing that a couple gals started, which I thought was Pete Ramey's trim because I found it off his page and I just thought it was his. And they had pictures of it and stuff, and they were saying how much easier it was than doing it from the bottom. And
I think
you
Pete
put your,
Ramey says you can trim the bottom third.
yeah, well, I don't know about that
I don't
because
know.
that made my whole horse's foot flare.
Ouch.
And so you're trimming the heels down, you're trimming the buttress out, and then it starts to push out like what you see here. And so
Mm-hmm.
you think you got a flare. Well, then they teach you to dress down that flare.
Mm-hmm.
So then that just makes it worse. And so that's probably what happened to your horse. Okay. They lowered the heel, took the stabilization away from the heel buttress. It pushed forward, ran forward. When it ran forward, it pushed the wall out. And then to get rid of what looked like a flare to them, they dressed it down, which just weakened it and made it weaker. And then it just really flared out and went flat. Um, which,
He was
uh,
flat from the toe quarter
yeah,
back. It was
wow.
ugly.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because especially like all 4 feet, I had this really wide side on the lateral side and narrow on the medial, but especially on the back foot, on the back, on the rear left side was the worst. Um, it was just ugly as all get out. Let me see if I can find a picture. Let's see here. Pictures. Um, just a second. Let's see. Hmm. Oh, I may not have any of that particular foot. But anyway, that foot was a lot like that. Like, yeah, I can relate to what you're saying, but I just don't know where I got pictures of that foot that old yet. I'm looking. Now, I will show this one though. Let's see. See, last time I did a barefoot trim right there. Horse couldn't hardly walk off. Didn't trim it for a year hardly at all, except to knock off. Never took pictures, nothing. And it grew into that. This, this right here is in reality this right here. See, you're trimming a distorted monster. If you let it grow out, all these barefoot horses that look like that, you let it grow out, this is what it grows into right here, because that is what it really is. That's why you got to keep trimming and trimming and trimming. And because you ever notice, well, if I let his heels grow, they're run forward. Ever hear that one?
Yeah.
You know, because that's what you've created here.
Mhm.
And so you got to keep trimming it to make it look at all nice and tidy. And my horse did not want to have this kind of foot. He kept forming false heels. But I kept at it, because that image was put in my head of that one dead wild horse. And so finally I got that, and he didn't like it at all. Got your 30-degree hairline. Um, And this is what, if you don't trim them, they turn into. But once you straighten a foot out like this, it could grow for quite a while, and it's not going to totally distort and deform like that, because here is the true shape, more the true shape and form of the real foot than that ever was. Okay, this is simply a result to a horse that has been in a bad environment with no food, wearing its heels out. And so the foot will turn into something like that, but that doesn't mean you want your domestic horse to have a foot like he's been starving to death in a bad environment with no food and walking 20 miles a day. They lay that on you too. 20 miles a day. They walk 20 miles a day. Well, first of all, no, they don't. Not necessarily, they sure don't. And second of all, uh, that's this horse here, the horse that produced that ugly foot that was put in our heads as the perfect foot. That horse was old, and those feet were old, old, old. And people say, well, them wild horses don't live to a long, ripe old age. Yes, they do, because all these people there, these advocates following these different wild horses in different places, they got their genealogy down. Oh, that's Trigger. I remember his dam, and grand dam from 40 years ago. Like, geez. Yeah, they follow these horses their whole lives. They have pictures of them from when they're born to when they, disappear or die or whatever. Um, it's really amazing. And very few horses have a foot that actually looks like that, even the old ones. So that mare that he that BLM gave him, she was an exception to the rule, because they have much better feet with lots of heel. You don't often see them looking quite like that at all. So anyway, okay, so what is your game plan?
Game plan. I'm gonna um I'm gonna rewatch this video for one.
Okay. Okay, so
And then I wanna try some um more restorative notching.
okay.
I want to clean out those frogs, and I might ask Santa for a proxon.
I think that'd be great. I think you'd really like that. Now, um uh I was able to fix this foot of mine that was very asymmetrical, and I know you'll be able to straighten this heel out as well. Sometimes what I would do, let's see. Hold on. Oh, well, I can't. I can't. I wish Facebook had let you flip pictures around, but I think did I take, oh, well, here I am. Let's do this.
I might have one flipped around.
I got
I
one.
okay.
I did it already. Here, just
Alrighty.
a minute. Right there. So I'm just looking. Yeah, and this is the thing too. I look at my horse's feet, I go, okay, what should I do? You know. Um, but sometimes also what I have done is now are you taking this heel is more run forward,
Mm-hmm.
pushing forward. And so are you making these heels the same exact length?
No, I'm trying to take the more upright one down
Okay.
to to weight the lower one,
Okay.
and then
Because
slowly, trim it back a little. Just try to keep it flat, not really trimming it down, just kind of leveling it out a little.
okay.
Uh,
Now, one area you want to get is this right here. Okay. You have
Lower?
to learn how to take this area down, just this little piece here,
Okay.
because it can get higher, too much higher than your heel here, and then it is going to hold your heel forward.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Um, so you take that rouse when you're sighting down and like you're looking at the very edge of your heel here, and if you see that it's substantially higher, you want to just take it down right there without taking this part down here. Okay. You still want to take like, in fact, I can tell that this area right here is high. Okay. So you just want to take straight across with your rasp right there and just kind of lower that so that this part is not bearing weight and pushing forward. Of course, that's the same area you'd put a notch. See right there?
Okay.
So that's interesting too. And same with this side here and stuff because this area, these areas will hold your heels forward. It's always something, you know. Let's see here. Yeah, if we were to look down, like really sight down your heels, we'd probably see that this area is just too high. And you can kind of see it right in here too, you know.
I lost your cursor.
Huh? Oh,
I can't see your
just a
cursor.
minute. I went back to that foot. Yeah, I do think this foot would benefit from a notch. Well, it's wanting to break out anyway. See there? That's what that is.
Wow.
It's this side is hollowish. And so it's already kind of trying to bust out, you know.
You can see how where I'm growing out that bull nose. That was
Yeah,
he was really walking out of his back feet. Oh my
was
goodness,
he?
they were horrible. Yeah.
Oh, poor guy. Yeah, it's just all these different leverages that get created from taking those heels down. You know, when the foot wants to be up here, you know, that is a high hairline. So,
He's a stocky horse, so he needs some underfooting.
yeah. How big a horse is he?
He's average size for a
Okay.
horse. But he's just wide. Yeah.
Well, do you have any more questions or do you want anything else you want to talk about or
Um, I think this is like drinking from a fire hose. I appreciate your time and all the explanations. I'm gonna have to watch this again and make my game plan a little clearer so I'll go in with a confident understanding and just I'll take pictures and I'll send them to you.
see, and something else that'll help you is if you get a really good idea what the structure and is of the foot is supposed to be to begin with, because then when you start looking at it, your brain will start going, okay, what can I do here to make that go there? Um, like I was talking to you about proportions,
Mm-hmm. The
you know,
rectangle and triangle.
yeah, let me show you something here. Just a second here. Proportions. See, we always got to take it back to what are the proper proportions? What's going on in this foot? Like where are the horn tubules at? Where are the growth rings at? Where's the hairline at? Where does the hairline need to be? What is going on proportionally? I'm going to show you here. Just a second. And then you always go back to that foundation. And then when you're looking at the feet and you're studying them yourself, you do your own markups. And like you can take a side view and go, okay, where's that horn tubule supposed to be? And it'll help you the more that you can get lower to the ground and straight on uh a straight on profile shot so that you can really see your horn tubules and your hairline where they're really at. Um, let me see here. Do 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 do. Pictures,
So if I'm seeing this right,
pictures.
I could already see where the back of the foot is holding up the the straightening out of the tubules. If I'd notched it, it would have more room to move back, to stand
Yeah.
up.
Let's see. Okay. E foot. That's what I'm looking for here. Okay, just a second here. Um, Gotta find the right one. Hold on. Okay, well, this will work. Okay, let's see. Share. Okay, so this is your basic foot. It's not a perfect thing, but it gives you your proportions. Okay, so you got your foot, and then you got your hoof capsule growing from it. So let me do the annotate here. Just a second here. I like blue. Okay, so proportionally. Okay, let's look at this foot here. We go back here to the heel of the inner foot. We're doing the inner foot, even though the capsule's on this.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so then, well, wait a minute. Hold on. We're not going to do the heel buttress part yet. So see that rectangle?
Mhm.
Well, and I still did it wrong because I'm just a minute. Let me undo this. We're going to do the inner foot first instead of trying to do the whole thing. Hold on. Okay. So this capsule has to fit and support this foot a specific way. So let's just look at the basic, what the basic foot looks like here. You see that?
Mhm.
Proportions. You're looking at proportions. And so then the capsule um, has to fit that. First of all, you have to have support here to hold the back of that foot up. See there? That's the nubbin, this nubbin right here, that heel buttress supports the whole back of that, the whole back of this cartilage. So if you lower this beyond what it should be, so you would want your heel buttress to support the back of here, attach to the back of the heel, grow down, connect to the sole, then grow about another inch, right? So that you have sole, at least an inch of sole under this foot right here. Here's your foot. So let's see here. So proportions on your hoof capsule. Okay, your heel buttress back here must support the back of that foot up into a specific location because all this is cartilage, and then the foot is filled in the back with fat, your fatty or digital cushion. And so it is built to be in a specific spot only. And so when you lower this heel, like so, what happens? You're pulling the back of this foot down. This is going to, you cut this off, that's going to lower the foot, right? And force it down behind. Well, it's not built. It's got a whole horse up here that says, no, my foot belongs here. And so it's going to pull that up anyway. And when it does, it takes this part you've diminished and it curls it around to where then your cartilage is about to here. It'll curl the cartilage down and it'll curl the heel around behind. So we're trying to undo all that. And so to do that, the more elevation you can get to the back of the foot, the more the foot will be tempted to uncurl the heels for you. Because as long as this hairline's down like this, that it's pulling this foot down with it, the foot is going to want to pull back up. And as it does so, it will automatically curl those cartilages and heels behind it, leading to a contracted foot. So when you're thinking of these feet and you're looking at your horse's foot, you have to look at proportions. First of all, hairline. How high is it? How straight is it? Does it, curl around like this? Are my growth rings straight? This is where you're wanting to go. See? And so you have this portion of the foot, this triangular portion here. Here, we need to go. We're looking at a capsule, though. I keep looking at the inner foot. I need to look at the capsule. So here's your heel right here. Now there's your proportion again, which is right here. And then, of course, the toe area, which is here. See that? And then your horn tubules. Okay, you can't have this horn tubule here going clear up here. See, that'll push the toe forward. And so you're wanting to get all these horn tubules into alignment and understanding the way horn tubules work. If I take and I lower the back of the foot down to here, well, it's just taken this horn tubule that should be here and it's made it like that. And so then that's going to push everything in front of it forward like this, including the toe out like that. So we know that if you give these room, a lot of times they will, first and foremost, you got to get this hairline up. That in and of itself is going to want to pull these horn tubules that have been pulled forward here. It's going to want to pull them back like that. And then, of course, you bevel down here to give them room to move back. But let me undo this. So there's your basic. Just a minute. Your basic proportions. And your lamina on the internal foot is aimed like that. So your horn tubules have to be in alignment with it. So you got your growth rings you're looking at and your horn tubules. You're trying to bring all this thing back into alignment. And so what I learned was you got to get the back of that foot and all this grown in there. And you can work on this a little too, but a big part of it is getting the back of this foot to be raised up, getting the capsule replaced that you trimmed out. And then at the same time, you're going to have to work on these horn tubules as you can so that they will move back into place. And as you start getting heel, buttress, and lift, you're going to start getting sole. And so you have to learn, sometimes you started out doing this number here. You started out taking this down, okay, which pushed all the horn tubules forward. Okay, so now you're going to start getting some toe in here. You're going to have to start doing this on occasion. See that little wedge there?
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit. What would that do? That'd lift the back of the foot up more and kind of tip the top back, but what would it do? It would straighten up at these horn tubules all more so that they would be more prone, say, to want to move back like that. Like if your horn tubule's like that and you take that off, well, it's going to move back like so. You see, we need to get all these back into alignment here. Am I making any sense at all?
Yes, no, no, you're making a lot of sense.
Okay, so we always have to keep in mind this is the structure of the foot right here, no matter what. Okay, uh, the hairline is supposed to be straight. Um, the cartilages are extended. They're not curled around. If you see the back of these growth rings curling around like that, you know that you're still needing to uh, grow in more capsule of the back of this foot and unwrap the back of the foot. Um, and then just always looking at your growth rings, your horn tubules. Uh, you're gonna have to learn how to take down sole in the toe and shape your foot so that it's shaped, feet aren't round. That's
Hmm.
another thing. When we did that, the foot went round in that barefoot trimming.
Hmm.
Yeah, understanding hoof distortion and how these feet distort when you're trimming when you're taking the support out of the back of the foot. See, because this is just a shell that's supposed to fit over this foot and it has to support it in a specific way. And if it doesn't, because the whole half of the foot is fat and cartilage, it can be distorted and deformed and compressed into a smaller capsule. So again, we're just like you say, reverse engineering everything we did in barefoot trimming.
Yeah.
So, alrighty then.
Wow.
Every horse's foot is proportionally the same anatomically. That doesn't mean they won't have a bigger foot or a smaller foot or something like that. Proportionately, they all have an inner foot covered with skin. It's not just, you know, they all these dissections they do where they slice and dice. Okay, that's not showing you anything unless you already know what we're looking at here. That the horse has a whole foot covered with skin, that the coffin bone ends right about here, and that the whole back of the foot and the heel is cartilage. See? And so we have distorted the whole back of this foot, but I know that it can be restored. See? Okay. Well, that's all I got.
That's a lot. Thank you.
So, is there anything else you can think of that you want to talk about or
Um, no, I think Roberta's on with us. If she has a question, I don't
you
know if she's,
are? She
or
is?
maybe she was just on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Roberta.
Hi, Roberta. Well, next time I do one of these, I'll just send her a flat old invite. But it was just kind of one of those spur of the moment things.
Yeah, it was. Thanks for your flexibility as well.
Hey, you're welcome. Well, okay then.
Okay.
Uh, I guess I will let you go.
Yeah, I have work. I have homework.
Yeah, me too. Well, you could have stopped me anytime, by the way.
Oh, no, no, no. I I'm taking it all in and thank you for recording this so I can review it because, like I said, there's a lot to consider.
Okay, and what I'll do is I'll send you now. Zoom does AI summary, which is pretty interesting as well. So I can send you that too.
Okay,
Okay?
be great. Well,
All
thank
right,
you.
great.
Have
Well,
a great Saturday.
you too. I will. Okay.
Uh,
All right. Well, we'll talk to you later.
I'll see you
Bye-bye.
later. Thank you.
Okay, now I have to work my way out of here. Let's see. Stop share. Stop share and go to YouTube and stop the live stream. Man, I'd like to know. They must have a million. I can't even imagine the size of the buildings that they got to have, Google and YouTube, to store all this information. Okay.
Linda,
Yeah.
would you mind sharing your address with me?
I will do that. Uh,